And according to the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America, more than 100 million Americans experience various types of allergies each year. And joining us this morning is allergy and asthma specialist with Optum Washington, Dr. Vinod Dorswamy. Doctor, thanks so much for being here. First question, what kinds of preventative measures or treatments are available? And do those treatments vary depending on the type of pollen we're working with?
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me. The excellent question. As many of my patients who come and see me, always wonder, what do I do? And yes, maybe answering the second question first is, depending on your allergies, some of my patients have really early spring allergies, which means even though this is the first day of spring, actually the allergy season started a couple of weeks ago. So the season starts a little bit more sooner than the first day of spring. So one of the things, if you're a tree allergy, which people with tree allergies are the early ones, that there are a few things I tell my patients to do. Of course, it's still cold enough that you're going to keep your windows closed, so staying indoors when the pollen count is high. You can look at pollen.com or the other sources to look at pollen levels. So sometimes that takes a while to show up, but keeping the windows closed. If you're driving, again, keeping the windows closed, even if it's a nice day out, just to not let the pollens in, helps minimizing how much you're breathing pollen in, so that you can enjoy a little bit more time outdoors. The other thing is, if you've been outdoors, is to, once you come home, is to really take a shower, change your clothes, so you're not taking the pollen with you, to bed. If you have pets, sometimes, of course, sometime later in the season, if it's grass season, then if you have dog or rolling around in grass, maybe wiping them down or giving them the hose down, sometimes often helps wash off the pollen. But one of the best things, there are medicines that people can take. There are non-sedating antihistamines that don't make you drowsy, like cetirizine or fexofenadine, one could take. But often, if somebody has really bad allergies, when you're like, I dread the sound of spring, I really can't see the bloom, usually I tell my patient the best thing these days to do is to use a nasal steroid like a fluticasone or a triamcinolone, any of the generic nasal steroids that you get at the pharmacy without a prescription these days, and starting it early, right? Starting it if you're in January or early February, probably get a head start on it. Usually that works the best, and stay on it through the season.
Now, is that an expensive treatment that people can get, the steroids there?
Oh, not really. Meaning it depends. Before, when they were prescription, they were certainly expensive. Now you can get like a 3-month supply. You go to any grocery store or pharmacy. It's probably a lot more effective compared to the antihistamine. So usually the antihistamine, I use it as a second line, so I don't rely on it. Somebody's got really mild allergies, the antihistamine like cetirizine would be okay, but nasal steroids really lot less expensive compared to what it was, say, 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, such helpful information. We've got 20 seconds left. Should people get tested for specific allergies, and does that help to pinpoint the treatment required?
Absolutely. Testing is not always required, but, because these available treatments are there, but testing, then you can formulate a plan according to the individual, depending on what they're allergic to. Often what needs to be figured out is, do they have other allergies? Say, do they have indoor allergies like dust mites, or are they allergic to the pets? Sometimes pet allergy is not as obvious, sometimes very obvious. So, often when you treat the other allergies, your allergies to pollen or your reactions to pollen, it goes down also.
Dr. Vinod Dorswamy, we so appreciate you joining us this morning. It's a tough time of year for so many. So again, we're happy to have you. All right, let's send things over to our chief meteorologist, Brian McMillan. Happy first day of spring, Brian.
I know.
Thank you so much.
It's such an important conversation there, because I know a lot of you suffer from allergies. I was just talking with John, Abby, and we were talking about how later in life we started to feel it a little bit more than we did when we were kids. So